South Point is also proud to provide a variety of relaxing amenities for the guests who want to be pampered. Soak up the sun and let your stress melt away in our lagoon-style paradise swimming pool. A relaxing getaway where you can bask in the desert sun and enjoy seasonal food and bar service poolside. And if you really want to escape, come to Spa Costa del Sur. From couple suites to a co-ed wet area, our spa caters to business and leisure travelers who want to unwind and elevate their senses. A visit to one of our spa's steam, sauna, or whirlpool treatment rooms will leave any guest feeling like they can take on the world. Our gaming amenities include over 60 table games and over 2,600 of the most popular slot and video poker machines. We have penny slots, including the popular Buffalo games, and real machines like Wheel of Fortune, Triple Sevens, and Megabucks. If you prefer video poker, try Deuces Wild, Double Double Bonus, or a variety of multi-denomination games. Or try your hand at one of the most popular casino table games in the world, Blackjack. Don't let the game intimidate you. Blackjack, also known as 21, is both easy and fun. And our dealers are always happy to assist. And the best part? Blackjack always pays 3 to 2. Next, check out the roulette tables. Roulette is one of the easiest casino games to learn, and so much fun to play. It's a favorite of both beginners and seasoned players. In addition to blackjack and roulette, our casino pit features over 60 popular table games like Baccarat, Pai Gow Poker, 3-Card Poker, Ultimate Texas Hold'em, and Mississippi Stud. So get out of your room and come join in the fun.
Good morning. Welcome in. Still getting ready here on Sports by the Book. Happy to be with you as always. I'm Jeff Parles. Alex White's here. Kenny White is getting himself ready on the end of the desk as well. Alex, good morning.
Good morning. How you doing?
I'm here in one piece. That's all that matters. Kenny is here as well.
It's a blackjack table, not a desk.
Yeah, it is. That is true. That is true. We need
cocktails.
Yeah, where? Frank, I'm surprised hasn't brought a waiter or waitress in at some point, honestly.
Well, we did have a waitress.
That was
come
early.
in
That was
on
early
his
on,
birthday.
right?
Yeah, she brought cookies in for him.
Oh.
Yeah.
Very good.
Okay, I'm set. All right, we can start.
We're good.
The show.
We can
Go
start
ahead.
it again. Roll the intro. No, but in all honesty, we got a little bit of CBI, a little bit of NIT. Update you on what's going on in the numbers for tomorrow and Friday as well, and also. Ryan McCormick informed me that baseball starts tomorrow, other than the 2 games that were in Japan a week ago. So we'll talk about that as well. But first off, what happened last night? North Texas wins a low-scoring game, so that was good. That was good.
Yeah, and did you see the pace?
What was the pace, Kenny?
73.
It was 73, and there was only $1.20. Everyone okay?
73, but numbers do lie sometimes. There were 18 possessions and 15 free throws attempted in the last 2 minutes of the game. And it could have gone longer if Oklahoma State didn't cut it to 2, because there were 16 possessions in 70 seconds. And when they cut it to 2, they allowed North Texas to run off 30 seconds down to 11. Yeah. They missed. Oklahoma State got the rebound. And now there was a possibility of OT, that dreaded word. And I'm thinking, oh, no, please don't. This was like the best better. This game was on 103 with 2 minutes to go. 103, and you're under 136.5. And but it was ended up to be a good result, but it could have been a disastrous result. But that's the real possessions in the game should have been about 64.
Wow.
The also just coming out this morning that Ross Hodge is more likely than not on his way to West Virginia after North Texas's run in the NIT. So they're just West Virginia's gonna keep playing slow and defense first. But they will do it even slower moving forward. Also, coaching news yesterday, Richard Pitino goes from New Mexico to Xavier as well. There was a little bit of Chris Mack floated around by that, but the younger Pitino ending up in Cincinnati. Oh, and Alex, Russell Wilson signed with the New York Giants.
That is correct. So now Jameis Winston and Russell Wilson.
Hey, there was another coach that was named yesterday.
Yes, UNLV.
UNLV, well, Pastner. Didn't we know that 2 days ago, right?
I didn't. I just saw it this morning.
I think it was official yesterday.
Yeah, so Pastner goes to UNLV. Yeah.
I'm going to say props to the AD at UNLV. He made a great hire. Josh Pastner will never be here more than 2 years. And we will be in the NCAA tournament in the second year. He's one of the best defensive coaches in college basketball. He teaches defense better than anybody. We will be a lockdown defense this next year. And in his second year, he will take this team to maybe the Sweet 16.
Kenny, I genuinely thought that was because you thought he was going to get fired in 2 years.
No,
honestly.
He'll be out of here in 2 years.
It's kind of crazy. Pastner seems like he's been around for like 25, 30 years at this point. He's only 47 years old.
47 years old.
On job.
Perfect. He's
job number 3 for Pastner, of course, was at Georgia Tech for a decade. Also, Stephon Diggs signed with the Patriots as well. That was another one that happened yesterday. 3 years, $69 million, 26 guaranteed. For Diggs, who will be the number 1 wide receiver in Foxborough yesterday. They've had a very active offseason with all that cap space, the New England Patriots. All right, let's go to tonight. NIT, we got a pair of games. The next 2 that will end up heading off to Indianapolis to join, of course, North Texas, who won a night ago, and also to join the winner of the first game, which was Chattanooga, going on the road to Peoria and beating Brentley. Really fun run from the Mocs so far in this tournament. Let's go Kent State and Loyola first. A little bit of a carnage in this bracket at the top with no actually seeded teams, even though Loyola probably should have been the 4 instead of San Jose, but whatever, it's fine. Ramblers, 5-point favorites in this one against the Gold Flashes. 144.5 here for this one, Alex.
I really couldn't find anything in this game. I think those numbers are just right here with Loyola 5 and the total 144. This will be one of the better defenses that Loyola Chicago has seen, and they didn't do great against the teams above them. So they lost twice to VCU, they lost to George Mason, and San Francisco once. So it'll be interesting to see how they do with Kent State, who is defensive-minded and much better on that side of the court. They're also a great rebounding team, so I do think that they can hang in there. But if you look at the opposite side, Kent State, well, actually, not the opposite side. I was comparing a common opponent. So Kent State did beat St. Bonaventure 75-56, and Loyola Chicago handled them just about the same, 77-53. So I think this is a little more even, we'll see, than the line says, even though power rating-wise, Loyola Chicago should be a 4-point favorite at least.
I'm right there on the number on the side. I have Loyola 6 in the game. They're playing at Loyola. They've had a decent year. I think Drew Valentine's done a nice job, but this game is another slow down game. This is, again, I didn't know yesterday, wasn't even thinking. Shows how old I am, thinking NIT to Madison Square Garden, but we're going to Butler. This is a championship game, kind of, these games, and that's why the first 2 yesterday went under. You have 2 teams that neither team wants to run. And if you go back and look at their game logs and the teams they played, Kent State shows an extremely slow pace, yet they played 2/3 of their schedule against up-tempo teams. Loyola Chicago, the same way. So the possessions in this game are going to be 62 or 63. Both teams are better defensively than they are on the offensive end. I think this is an extremely solid under game. It's going to be very low scoring. I bet it under in the first half and for the game.
The Loyola team actually played really well over the last 6 weeks of the season. Just ran into VCU in the A-10 tournament, which no shame in losing to what ended up being the best team in the NCAA tournament, birth team for that league. Winner of this one will take on Chattanooga on next week. There'll be a Tuesday nighter in Indianapolis. For the other side of the bracket, UC Irvine and North Texas in this second of the doubleheader. Irvine, who is the number 1 seed in this pot, has handled their business. UAB won it in Philadelphia, then went across the country, won in Santa Clara, and now get around the West Coast again. here for this one. 4-point favorites and eaters at home with a total of 158 for this one. Both teams play fast, but one is defense first, one is offense first.
Right. So I do think we'll have more possessions in this game, especially Irvine, who is very good defensively. They speed you up on the defensive side. So can't confidently go under this one. Again, I mean, these lines are tight. I think these numbers are right side and total. It'll be interesting because we've got a little bit of contrast here. UAB really good offensively. It will be the best offense that Irvine has seen. And then on the flip side, this is going to be the best defense that UAB has seen in Cal Irvine. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in this one, but nothing for me, side or total.
Yeah, I made Irvine 1.5, so haven't bet the game because the facts that Alex just said. UAB's an offensive team, Irvine's a defensive team, and they're playing at home. I got to believe UAB stayed on the West Coast, that they didn't fly home from a Saturday to a Wednesday, that they stayed out west. So there shouldn't be anything travel-wise or hangover-wise. It is a little bit of an up-tempo game. UAB loves to run, and Irvine will push the pace, and Alex is right. They pressure on defense, and they force turnovers, and they force teams to shoot earlier in the shot clock than they'd like to. So the possessions will be there, but Irvine's defense is so good. My total's only 152.5, and again, this kind of a championship game. I haven't bet it. I didn't bet it. I'm not as confident in this one as I am the previous one. So it's a game I'm looking at. I may just bet a parlay UAB and under, which kind of seems like it's really not correlated when you're betting the team that's the better offensive team that really wants to run under. But it is a big number, 158.5. I've seen some lower numbers on UAB games.
Well, we did talk about, right, defense getting you to these big games and then kind of your offense taking over an offensive team's doing well. So that would kind of match up with UAB. And I say defense getting them there, but I mean, they're out of the top 200 defensively on KenPom. So it'll be interesting, but I can't fault you for taking the points there and expecting a good offensive showing from the Blazers.
And their numbers could have gotten out of whack too defensively because the last 3 games they played. Memphis, who's really good offensively, loves to run. The St. Joe's game, the first game of the NIT, was 75 possessions, and then the Santa Clara game was 74 possessions. Really up-tempo games against really good offenses. They give up a lot of points too. So I would expect their defense is a little better than what they've shown, but their offense is very, very good. So we'll see. It's going to be an up-tempo game, but again, if it gets close late, these teams do want to keep playing. They do want to go to Butler. They do want to play for an NIT championship.
I think for Irvine, too, it just the Big West, those top 2 teams against UC San Diego just fell short against Michigan. I mean, this Irvine team has 30 wins. This is a really, really high-end basketball team. He capped this off at 33-6. The hell of a year with an NIT championship. I would only look to bet Irvine. I wonder what the crowd's going to look like for this game. Again, small venue as well. And also for UAB, 3 straight road games with going cross country at the beginning of it as well.
That doesn't help.
Very, very interested to see how that all plays out tonight. Late game in the NIT. All right, the championship at Daytona. Cleveland State and Illinois State, your title game for the CBI. Redbirds, 2.5-point favorites in this one with a total of 141.5. Winner gets your CBI championship, Kenny.
Yeah, I'm going to go under here in this one. Both teams play extremely slow. Cleveland State much, much better on the defensive end than they are on the offensive end. So, again, championship game. I like to go under. Some of these totals get a little overinflated because the first couple of rounds in these tournaments, it's, let's have some fun and go play. But once you start winning more games and you get into these games that mean a little bit more, that you can hang a banner or bring a trophy back to the school, it's much more important possessions, more to premium. And these two already play slow, like I said. So I'm expecting about 63, 64 possessions in this game, so I did go under 141.5.
I like the under here as well. You brought it up. Cleveland State much better on the defensive side, and while Illinois State is good offensively, I brought it up yesterday too. I mean, they're awful at offensive rebounds. I don't think they're going to get a lot of second chances here with Cleveland State being really good on the board. So I do like the under in this, and I lean to Cleveland State, the better defense in this matchup, getting 2.5. But I think under is the best play.
Me interested to see how, again, a championship game. Also, you would anticipate the defense is showing up a little bit more, even with the slower pace. Again. The quote unquote extra games, these extra tournaments. Next week we'll have that Crown tournament that's here in Vegas, so there'll be even more games to talk about next Monday through Friday here on the show. Just a quick update on everything for the next few days. Of course, our Sweet 16 preview is available now on the Sports by the Book page. There really hasn't been a YouTube page, of course. There hasn't really been anything crazy movement-wise over the last 24 hours or so. Really, the biggest thing is that there's starting to be some nines on the Auburn and Michigan game. That is on Friday. I just wonder if this continues to keep going up over the next 48 hours plus before that game in Atlanta. That's really, of all the games, the biggest mover over the last 24 hours. A hook went on with Kentucky. That's not too big. The hook was added on for Purdue up to 8 from 7.5. Not a ton of movement over the last 24 hours on a bunch of these games. Also, Arizona is still approaching 10 as well. That one went from 9.5 back to 9 and now back to 9.5. So not a ton of movement over the last 24 hours.
Any news on Arkansas? You were diving deeper into that one.
Yeah, that's I wanted to mention. That's I think the biggest move is Edo Thiero will play.
Yep.
Calipari, coach speak. He'll play 12 to 15 minutes. That's BS, John. He's going to play 25 to 30 minutes. So, please don't insult our intelligence. If the guy's going to play and he's the best player on the team, okay, LeBron, you're only playing 15 minutes tonight because you're just coming back. He went through all the drills, all the physical stuff. He had a hyperextended knee and he took more time off than he was supposed to. He's playing 30 minutes. He's the best defensive player on this basketball team, and they need him in this game. So I love Arkansas. I think Arkansas wins the game straight up. They have too many weapons now. You bring back Fland, and now you got Thiero in the lineup. All these guys are getting a lot of playing time. They're playing well together. Texas Tech's best three-point shooters out. They've played nobody the first two games. They didn't need McMillan, but they need him here, and he ain't playing. So Arkansas is the better basketball team. I think they even have the wrong favorite on the board in this game.
Wow.
Oh.
You know, Texas Tech did beat.
I know they have the wrong favorite in the game. If you line these guys up right now and put them right here in front of us and told NBA scouts, go ahead and take your choices. They're going to take 3 guys from Arkansas and 1 guy from Texas Tech, and then they'll start taking the rest of the Arkansas guys. So this line is based off of what we've seen the entire season and not who they are right now. And Arkansas is just a better basketball team. And the big reason is because McMillan. This guy's one of their best players. He's a great three-point shooter. He's their best free throw shooter. He's like their best team guy, and he's not playing. They didn't need him the first 2 games. They needed him badly here, and Arkansas needs Thiero here, and they got him back. And guaranteed, you can bet all of his props over because if they want to put props up that he's going to play 12 to 15 minutes, they're out of their mind.
I'd be surprised if a lot of books put numbers up on him.
Yeah, I would.
Just for that,
too.
Just exactly that reason. I mean, 12 to 15 minutes in Calipari speak is 22 to 27. So I think you're right on that part of it for sure. By the way, real quick, just want to throw this out there. If chalk prevails in these 8 games, which, again, they probably won't, there will be an upset along the line. If the 8 favorites win, it'll be the first time ever that we get Ken Pom 1 through 8 in the Elite 8. That has never happened before. As we talked about yesterday, this is just by strength of team by Ken Pom rating. This is the strongest Sweet 16 we've ever seen. Only one team outside the top 25. That's Arkansas right now, but they've been playing at a top 25 level over the last month. unbelievable strength in this Sweet 16. And, of course, we'll have even more of a preview on tomorrow morning show. And the full preview is already available right now. Just click right below once we're done here on the show here today.
Going back to that game quickly, because I'm glad that you did bring this up, because I was kind of hanging my hat. I love Texas Tech, and they did beat Houston earlier on in the year, but Chance McMillan was their best player in that game and had 23 points, 2 for 6 from 3, hit all 7 free throws. So that does make me a little bit more nervous here, and got to add those players coming back for Arkansas into the line here, and that line is not with him in it, correct?
Oh, there's no doubt. I mean, people know he's back, but they're not betting it because they like Texas Tech. You look at Ken Palm and he says they're going to win by 6, so everybody thinks they're going to win by 6. But Ken Palm's numbers aren't with Fland and Thiero in the lineup, and they're with McMillan in the lineup. But this tournament has had no upsets whatsoever because of the lack of parity now in college basketball. But now we have parity.
Yeah.
We have parity. Jeff just mentioned it, top 16 teams. You're giving a top 15 team now 7, 8, 9 points. These games are going to become much tighter. We're going to see upsets. We're going to see 4 upsets out of the 8 games. 4 dogs are going to win straight up. So there you go.
Well, that would make for a very interesting Elite 8 if we get 4 outright dogs. In this Sweet 16, again, getting rolling tomorrow. All right, let's go to the ice. Let's go to the ice here on a Wednesday evening across the NHL. Only 4 games on the card, but Alex, you got looks at all 4 of them here tonight. The Islanders and the Canucks up first. The Islanders, all of a sudden, this is just a testament to the mediocrity at the bottom of the Eastern Conference playoff chase right now. Where the Islanders, of course, traded Brock Nelson at the deadline. I was like, all right, well, this thing's cooked for New York. No, not so fast. Entering today, they are a point behind Montreal for that final slot in the Eastern Conference playoffs. The Rangers lose last night, and that's even with the Islanders losing in overtime to Columbus yesterday. Islanders are alive here with 11 or 12 games to go for New York. $1.15 favorite against Vancouver tonight at home with a total of 5.5.
I do think that number is too short, and I'm glad that you set that up nicely with the Islanders and what they are playing for in this one. I think minus 115 is a steal here. I actually made it closer to minus 135, 20-cent difference. It's not an official play, but I do like that side in this game. Now, Vancouver, I do have to say, they have 78 points, so they're also trying to get in the wild card spot in the Western Conference. But, money-wise and where the line is value-wise, I think Islanders is the right side there.
Moving along, Devils and Blackhawks up next. Of course, season from hell yet again for Chicago. Second worst team in the Western Conference. New Jersey has just I can't even think of the right word here. They've just kind of been there since the Hughes injury. Not a ton of consistency, not a shock once you lose your best player. Yep. They're safely in the postseason. They're going to play Carolina and be a nice-sized dog in round 1. But tonight they're a $2.20 favorite against Chicago in the Windy City with a total of 5.5.
More just a value play here as well. I think that number is too high on the Devils. They have lost 3 in a row. They've lost 4 of their last 5. And I know Chicago, they just got 1 win. They beat the Flyers convincingly and had a nice losing streak before that. But I really like Spencer Knight, who they got from Florida Panthers. Good goalie here since he's played in March for Chicago. He has a .902 save percentage, and he's historically played well against New Jersey and a 195 goals against average. So I'm going to take a little shot here, getting that plus money with Chicago, who's, Ryan even said it while we were talking off air, kind of playing spoiler alert. They're still playing hard. They're a young team. They're not going to just throw up the white flag. So pizza money, about a 1/4 of a unit size there on that one.
To the West Coast we go next. Anaheim and Boston. Again, not the most exciting game. The Bruins are going to miss the playoffs. The place they have not been in a very long time outside the playoffs, and they sold at the deadline, and here they are as an underdog in late March in Anaheim. Minus 125 on the Ducks, plus 105 on the take back for Boston, total 6, Alex.
You're right. Paid Jeremy Swayman a lot of money for the next 6 to 8 years here, and he is having a very rough year. I like the under, though. I still think he is a very good goalie, and Boston is a much better under team on the road than at home. So their median is 2 goals for, 3 goals against. That's a nice 5 there. And Anaheim, 40 and 25 to the under on the year. These two are tied for 28th out of 32 teams. They are tied at 28th for goals per game, both averaging 2.64. So I made it 5.5. I'm going under 6.
And then the last one is a doozy of a game north of the border. Two of the best teams in the Western Conference, Edmonton and Dallas. Dallas favored here in this one. $1.35 with a plus 115 comeback on Edmonton, total 6.
I think these numbers are just right here, side and total with Dallas and Edmonton. I just was bringing up we don't have McDavid or Draisaitl for Edmonton in this game. So if you want to add on a little bit, because I didn't really take them out of that line, it would be a lean to Dallas here. Maybe even take a shot. It's a very good team here if you want to go with the puck line and get that plus 190.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, baseball begins tomorrow. We'll give you our initial thoughts, and we'll see how it all plays out. Right now, Sports by the Book here at the South Point studio.
We have 11 amazing restaurants featuring a wide variety for every price range and appetite. South Point's Garden Buffet has something for everyone at unbeatable prices. Or, if hunger strikes in the middle of the night, join us at Coronado Cafe. The American menu offers breakfast, lunch, or dinner 24 hours a day, plus a Chinese kitchen for authentic Chinese dishes from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. From steak and eggs to wonton soup, it's fast and friendly service 24/7. When you need a quick pick-me-up, you can find it at our state-of-the-art Starbucks just inside the main South Point entrance. Order ahead with the Starbucks app for easy mobile order pickups. Or enjoy your favorites in the relaxing dining area anytime, day or night. If you love Mexican food, Baja Miguel's has all of your south of the border favorites. There are dozens of classics to choose from, like fajitas, ceviche, chimichangas, tacos, and more. And for spirit lovers, Baja's colorful non-smoking tequila bar is right outside. Or maybe you're in the mood for seafood. Big Sur Oyster Bar has fresh seafood prepared right before your eyes. Savor freshly shucked oysters, crab legs jambalaya, shrimp and lobster. Beers on tap and a selection of fine wines are perfect to pair with your seafood favorite. Whether lunch or dinner, you'll love this fun atmosphere, located just off the casino floor. Ready to shake things up? Step back in time and treat yourself to one of the oldest restaurant chains in the country. Steak and Shake, famous for original mouth-watering steak burgers and hand-dipped milkshakes in a variety of flavors. For some old-fashioned fun, try Steak and Shake.
Get ready to laugh with Punchlines with Frank Nicotero. Join Frank and his team of featured guests for your daily dose of comedy.
Reno, the Pittsburgh of the West.
Poison.
Yeah.
Poison.
Sports.
F for Falcons, Alex. We were talking Derek Carr for MVP after 2 games.
Who's we?
Okay, me. I was.
And the funniest social media posts.
People want to show off their food. Boom. Wiener on a guy's shoulder. It's the Tards, Colts. We bleed blue.
It's your one-stop spot for great laughs and a good time. Find us on YouTube at Punchlines FN. And join the chat live weekdays at noon Pacific for the ultimate blend of jokes, sports, and viral fun.
We have 11 amazing restaurants featuring a wide variety for every price range and appetite. South Point's Garden Buffet has something for everyone at unbeatable prices. Or, if hunger strikes in the middle of the night, join us at Coronado Cafe. The American menu offers breakfast, lunch, or dinner 24 hours a day, plus a Chinese kitchen for authentic Chinese dishes from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. From steak and eggs to wonton soup, it's fast and friendly service 24/7. When you need a quick pick-me-up, you can find it at our state-of-the-art Starbucks just inside the main South Point entrance. Order ahead with the Starbucks app for easy mobile order pickups. Or enjoy your favorites in the relaxing dining area anytime, day or night. If you love Mexican food, Baja Miguel's has all of your south of the border favorites. There are dozens of classics to choose from, like fajitas, ceviche, chimichangas, tacos, and more. And for spirit lovers, Baja's colorful non-smoking tequila bar is right outside.
Welcome back in. It's Sports by the Book here at the South Point studio. Jeff Parles, Alex White, Kenny White, we're all here. We are looking at Major League Baseball. Of course, opening day tomorrow. Alex will have all the plays tomorrow morning for opening day. We do already know our matchups as we get a full day of baseball. But also, by the way, the first game tomorrow doesn't start till noon Eastern, or excuse me, noon Pacific. Which, what are we doing? Why are the games so late? Start them at 10 a.m.
They should have started today.
Well, they
Or
technically
yesterday.
started last week.
I know.
Yeah.
But we'll get to it. By the way, Ryan, is Justin Steele going to be the first Cub to start back-to-back games in like a century? Yeah, it's going to be a long way for that because he's starting tomorrow against the Diamondbacks. We'll start in the National League. Of course, the Dodgers are your betting favorites to win the whole dance again, plus 180 to win the World Series. My goodness, that is unbelievably short for the Los Angeles Dodgers to win their second consecutive. But we'll get to the Dodgers. We'll get to the NL West in a moment. Let's start with what is the most competitive division, and I would argue is the best 1-2-3 punch in Major League Baseball for any division. You could argue the West in this division, but you go with the Mets, the Phillies, the Braves, in any order in the NL East. And we'll start there, Alex, where the Braves, of course, had just a ton of injuries a year ago, still made the playoffs, got the 5 seed in the NL. They ended up losing to the Padres in 2. Ronald Acuna, of course, missed basically the whole season. Same with Spencer Strider. The Braves are healthier. They will have a full Acuna within probably about a month to 6 weeks from now. Still waiting on an exact arrival for Strider, but a team that is just fully loaded with young talent under contract for a long way. And, of course, the reigning Cy Young Award winner in Chris Sale leading their rotation while Strider's still out.
Yeah, I mean, looking at, if you're trying to look for value, they are the favorite here to win this division. So I don't think there's that much value there. I guess they're all pretty close, huh? Mets and Phillies, it is a 1-2-3 punch there. Spencer Strider, obviously huge for the rotation. I don't love that they still have Grant Holmes as their 5th man there. So we'll see if somebody else steps into that spot. But great lineup as well. I haven't really decided out of those 3 who I have winning this division just yet.
I'm going to go with Philadelphia to bounce back this year. And I love Atlanta, too. Atlanta's really good. I have Atlanta's offense number 1 in Major League Baseball. Philadelphia's offense like number 6. And they're both 1-2 punch, really, in starting pitching right now. But I think Philly's definitely a little higher odds. I didn't look at the odds, but I'm guessing they're probably the second favorite. Yeah.
2-1 on Philly right now, plus 150 on the Braves. It's funny, one of these teams, and I don't think it can be Atlanta because last year the regression of the injuries was so negative that you expect to have and it's baseball. There may not be a such thing of positive injury luck at this point.
Yeah.
With just all the pitching injuries. But from the position play, like you lose Ronald Acuna and still make the playoffs, and you don't have Acuna for 5 months. That's pretty darn impressive. You lose Riley with the last 3 weeks to go, too. Like, they still got there, even without arguably their 2 best offensive players. I expect Atlanta to win this division just because I think the position player injury luck reverts positively. It's interesting with the Phillies. You look on paper, they really didn't do anything this offseason, at least from fortifying that lineup that obviously had a great year. To get Max Kepler, who's a nice player, I don't know if he's a huge impact piece more than anything. Their starting rotation, 1-2. Obviously, Wheeler and Nola is awesome. Ranger Suarez is out for a little bit. Jesus Luzardo gets picked up. That bullpen was so good last year. I just wonder, like a year-to-year thing, does that bullpen regress a little bit? And also, Bryce Harper's another year older. JT Realmuto's another year older. Trey Turner's another year older. These guys, at some point, there will start being regression just because of how long they've been around for. Could they win a division again? Oh, 100%. Could they finish third in the division? Yeah, I mean, these top three are that good. And we haven't mentioned the Mets, who obviously went on the Juan Soto sweepstakes victory in the offseason. It's very simple for the Mets. It comes down to their pitching.
Yes.
I think their lineup is actually top to bottom. I think this is the best lineup in the division when 100% healthy. But they're dealing with a whole collection of injuries right now. Broken hamate bone for Francisco Alvarez has him on the shelf for a month. Last year, their season almost fell apart when Alvarez was out for 6 weeks. They were the worst team in baseball for those 6 weeks. That is a concern. Jeff McNeil's out. Had a down year, but still a reliable piece when right. But most importantly, Frankie Montas, who was a big acquisition offseason, he's out at least for another 2 months. And Sean Manaea is probably going to be ready around the middle of May. This is a rotation that is built right now with a lot of guys who have injury history or unknown. That concerns me. You get out to a bad start. Kodai Senga gets hurt again after making one start in the regular season a year ago. You could be looking at a lot of problems for the Mets. But I have them in the playoffs. I have Atlanta in the playoffs. And I'm still trying to figure out, does Philly or does Padres get that last playoff spot in the NL? I really do think it's 6 teams for 5 spots that don't include the National League Central there for this NL this year.
You know, great points, Jeff. You've done some work here on these teams, and you've given me some, stuff to think about here. Looking at the Mets pitching, and I'm all about pitching. Yeah. I am not going to go out and get Juan Soto. I don't care. I want the 5 best pitchers in baseball on my staff, and the Dodgers have that, and that's why the Dodgers are so good. They've got great hitting, but this Mets team, yeah, the lineup looks really good. It is a good lineup, but I think Philadelphia and Atlanta's lineup is just as good, and both those teams have far better pitching than the Mets. And pitching is everything in baseball. It's 70% of the equation. Senga's got to have a really good year, and Manaea out for such a long time. Now, Manaea, this is a guy that changed his arm angle late in the season last year to where Chris Sale was, and he became dominating. I was ready to back him, from the get-go. I was hoping he'd be ready for the season. But the rest of the rotation, like you said, has injuries and no big names. I don't think Severino's a fairly big name, but I don't know if he's had a good year in 2 or 3 years. So I don't see anybody to rely on right now with Manaea out.
Going to the actually, we'll hit the bottom 2 teams in the East real quick. The Marlins, I think, are going to be among the worst teams in baseball yet again. It just there's really not real reason for them existing anymore, in all honesty, to be totally frank. And then the Nats, and we were asked in the chat by Robert about that. I don't think the Nats have a chance of making some sort of huge push, being a potential playoff team. I just don't think they're there, and the other 3 teams in the division are just so good in comparison. But they have a bunch of really nice young talent players. James Wood he's the guy I expect to take a nice leap forward for them this year and turn into a bona fide all-star player. But when it's all said and done, I just think Washington, wrong division. You put them in the NL Central, it could be live as a nice price. But in this division, 60-1, 69.5 wins feels about right for Washington. The Marlins, again, if it wasn't for the existence of the White Sox, and the Colorado Rockies, I would have the Marlins power rated as the worst team in baseball right now.
Marlins win total did go down 63.5 to 62.5, and Washington's actually up 71.5 to 72.5.
Yeah, there you go.
Curious where you have their starting rotation: Mackenzie Gore, Jake Irvin.
My Washington's?
Yes.
Let me look real quick. I just pulled that up. Washington, I have at the bottom of baseball, basically, number 25 out of 30 teams. I was just looking at Miami, and I don't know if this site's updated or not, but looking at their leaders supposedly this year, Otto Lopez, Javier Edwards, Jazz Chisholm Jr. He's back on the team. Didn't he go to the Yankees?
No, Jazz is in New York. So.
Right. He thought he was with the Yankees. Yeah. So maybe these stats are from last year, and their leaders. I know Jesus Sanchez, Jake Berger. Not sure if those guys are there. Berger's got really good power and a young guy, and Sanchez too.
Berger's gone as well. Right now for Miami, real quick. Stanley Alcantara comes back after missing all of last year, which is significant, obviously, Cy Young caliber guy. After that,
that's it.
Okay, here's all right. I'm gonna give you their projected starting 9 here tomorrow. Okay, this is how bad this is. Xavier Edwards is your leadoff hitter. Derek Hill's your 2-hitter. Matt Mervis is batting 3rd. Jonah Bride, your DH, is batting 4th. Kyle Stowers is your 5-hitter. Otto Lopez, like you said, 6. Griffin Conine, 7. Nick Fortes behind the plate, and then Graham Pauley's your 3rd baseman. If you're not into this every day, you're probably knowing at most one of those guys. I kind of go back to what I said before. Why do they exist? It's a joke. You have them as the next to last team in baseball. Oh my God, 1 point ahead of the White Sox.
So that's like 3 cents to the betting line.
Oh my God,
3 cents to the betting line, better than the White Sox. That's offensively. Now maybe they have a little better pitching staff than the White Sox do. And let me see where I have. Yeah, the White Sox I have 28th. I have 2 teams starting rotation lower than the White Sox.
Who do you have worse?
Cleveland and the A's.
Oh, the Guardians, who were so good last year at that rotation. Yeah. That's interesting. Okay. All right.
I'll have to see who I have in the rotation.
Let's go to the NL Central now, where even though with 2 losses in Japan, I still think the Cubs are the best team in this division. There has been a lot of smoke on the Reds this offseason, who hired Tito Francona, who had a reasonable offseason. Obviously, everyone loves Ellie De La Cruz, who expected to take another leap forward yet again. They get Gavin Lux. They still have those young starting pitchers in Lodolo and Hunter Green, who are expected to be high end. They trade for Brady Singer. And even though with Jonathan India gone, I think getting Singer back in return is a nice little help of that rotation. I don't think they're there yet, personally. I think they're one more year away from really being able to take the leap. The Brewers, of course, they lose Willie Adames. They still have Yelich, who is battling the back injury. Jackson Chourio, it might be the most underrated player in baseball at this point. But Alex, I still think this is Chicago's division to win. But one more thing I want to bring up. It is so odd to see the St. Louis Cardinals with the worst odds in this division. They are 14-1 here at the South Point. And quite frankly, that price is too short on St. Louis. That is what this era is for the Cardinals. They are not the same team that was legitimately over 500 for almost 25 years straight. That's not what they are anymore, Alex.
I am curious to see what happens with Pittsburgh here and their pitching staff. And Jared Jones is out for a little bit, but he will be huge when he comes back with Paul Skeens and him. And even Mitch Keller is very good. So I like the Pirates there. I understand why they are ahead of the Cardinals. I do like the Reds, though. I think it's between them and the Cubs. I'm not completely all in on Chicago just yet. They still have to prove it to me. So I think the Reds are young. They were having fun at the end of the year. I think they will be a really good team and probably get some good value on them to win this division.
Just real quick, Kenny, before we get to you on this. Jared Jones is not going to need surgery. That was a concern that it was a UCL and it would have been all over. He shut down for 6 weeks. So who knows when we'll see him. It could very easily be the middle of June, early July, maybe even later. But at least avoided the dreaded Tommy John surgery, which would have knocked him out for this year and probably a chunk of next year as well.
6 weeks.
6 weeks of a shutdown, so probably 10 weeks at best, more likely than not.
May, maybe June.
Kenny, any thoughts on this NL Central here?
I think it's a crapshoot. I'm just looking at rosters kind of for the first time, and the Cardinals are just such a great organization. I mean, organization-wise, and that's where it all starts. Some teams like the Rays and the Cardinals, they make something out of nothing all of the time. And I thought Eric Fetty was a great pickup for the Cardinals last year. And if Michaelis can have another decent year, Sonny Gray did had a good year last year. I like the lefty Liberatore, Palente. Their rotation's not bad. I mean, it's not that much better or any better than the other teams in the league. And you look at the Pirates, with Skeens and Jones at the top, that's a tremendous 1-2 punch. And if Max Keller can pitch in Haney, I've always liked Haney. So that's a really good rotation. Pittsburgh just has no offense. They may be the worst offensive team in the division. So I think it's really a crapshoot. And I think if whoever really gets off maybe to a hot start, that might be the team to back all year. I didn't even look at the Reds rotation. I think I have everything on their offensive, defensive, pretty average. Hunter Green's been injury prone. Singer's, got a lot of talent, never done anything. Loyola I like, and Martinez, Abbott. It's an okay rotation, nothing great though.
Martinez had a huge year last year. Actually got a qualifying offer and signed it, and I think correctly so, because that was a lot of money for a guy who had historically just been a rover between the rotation and the bullpen, and all of a sudden ends up being a guy that's making $22 billion a year as the number 3 starter for the Cincinnati Reds. All right, we go to the NL West. The Dodgers are $9 favorites. And it's properly so. I mean, look, roster-wise, there's no one really tight on them for just regular season-wise, day by day. I mean, they could very easily be underdogs at most a dozen times this year, at most, and I'm probably heavy on that. Inevitably with the Dodgers, there's some of their starters will get hurt, and we'll be looking up at some point and be like, wait a second, why are we having a bullpen game here with all this depth in this rotation? But look, their rotation is awesome. They signed Blake Snell. They get Roki Sasaki in as well. They fortified the back end of their bullpen. They bring in Tanner Scott and Kirby Yates, who are at their peak, arguably 2 of the best closers in baseball. I signed Michael Conforto to fortify outfield positions. The only concern coming in is that Mookie Betts is dealing with this mystery ailment that kept him out of the games in Japan. He apparently has lost 20 pounds. He can't keep down food. Pretty scary situation, more so than anything for Betts. We don't know if he'll play tomorrow in the U.S. version of opening day for the Dodgers. But Alex, if you look at this division as a whole, the Dodgers are going to win it. It's really just a matter of, do the Padres, the Diamondbacks, or the Giants? Colorado's one of the worst teams in baseball. Kenny, you have the Rockies. Actually, you look like you have the Rockies outside of the bottom 5.
Yeah, I do.
Going into the year.
But they're right. They're probably the next team. Yeah, and it's hitting in the best hitters ballpark too. That they have a horrible offensive team.
But Alex, this is a division. Dodgers will win it. But I like Arizona. I think the Diamondbacks, who missed the playoffs via tie breaks a year ago, I think they take the leap back because they improved last year after their NL pennant. I think they're closer to the team they were a year ago, even though they missed the playoffs. I think they're getting back and will end up in the postseason yet again.
I agree. I love the moves that they made. So already had Zach Gallen get Corbin Burns. I like their rotation. But I also like San Francisco's a lot. I really do like their pitching rotation. So for me, it's between those two, even though I do like the Padres. And offensively, I think they're there. I think their window is kind of closing, though. The Padres, they got to go all in at the beginning here. So if they start to fade off throughout the season, they might be sellers there, and we can look out for that. But it's a tough division. You made a great point when we started. I think this one might actually have the East beat this West one.
I'm going to take Arizona to be the second place team in the division. Just the Corbin Burns now going to be the ace. Zach Gallen is already an ace. Kelly has shown that he could be an ace. So they got the top 3 starting rotation, and then you have Rodriguez and Fat in there.
Yep.
This is a really good, and Ryan Nelson's would be the sixth guy, and he could be a starter, a third or fourth starter on most teams. I think they've done a really good job of what they built. I don't know, the offense isn't great, not bad though. I mean, Marte and Carroll are good players, and Gurriel's a veteran. Suarez at third. I like this team. This Arizona's team's growing on me as I see the players that they're going to put out on the field this year. I think they're going to be very good. I think Arizona will battle, but the Dodgers, obviously, when you look at their rotation and kind of look at maybe Clayton Kershaw as being the seventh best pitcher that they have, how could that be?
Yes.
Oh, if he's even able to get off the IL at any point this year for Kershaw. And look, again, like I said, I think it is legitimately 6 teams for 5 spots because the Central has to get there. Mets, in any order, Mets, Braves, Phillies, Padres, Diamondbacks, and Dodgers. It'll be 5 of those 6 teams in the playoffs. We'll see how this plays out. If you're looking at the numbers, I think Arizona's the only one that's really bettable right now from a pennant perspective. It's Major League Baseball. It's the playoffs. We know crazy stuff happens all the time. Up until this past year in this new format, the 6th seed made it twice in the National League. Phillies in the first year of the 16 playoff in 22, Arizona in 23, and then, of course, chalk prevailed, but the 6th-seeded Mets made it to the NLCS. So we have seen some weird stuff in the NL postseason, but Arizona at those numbers right now. I mean, the Dodgers, Kenny, Alex, Dodgers are plus 120 before the season. You don't see these numbers in baseball. This is as close to the Golden State Warriors with Durant and Steph Curry that we will ever see in baseball.
Yeah, you're right. It really is. This is a record low number to begin a season. But, this is baseball. I always say, anything can happen in baseball. So that's why the 6th team wins. That's why the team with the best record during the regular season doesn't win the World Series, because baseball is a game that, it's 9 innings. It's offense. It's defense. It's everything combined. And you need to look for long shots in this. And I'm looking at the Diamondbacks at 15-1. I like that. I think they were 40-1 up there, 30-1 to win it all. Mm-hmm. I don't think that's bad numbers. I mean, you could go with a team like the Pittsburgh Pirates, though. When you have the best pitcher in baseball on your staff and the guy could go 22-1, that kind of a player could vault everybody else in the organization to be that good. Offensive, even the hitters, it's. So that may be a team to look at, but again, you need to have Paul Skeens healthy the entire year.
Yep.
Let's go to the American League. This is a little bit different, and guys, I think this is a massive difference, as big of a difference as we're ever going to see between the 2 leagues in baseball. It's almost the varsity and the JV as we look at these leagues side by side. We start in the American League East on the AL side of things, and the team everyone is talking about is the Boston Red Sox. It's been a while since we've been able to talk up a Red Sox team, but they trade for Garrett Crochet. They signed Walker Buehler to fortify the end of the rotation. And then the big one at the end is they bring in Alex Bregman. Now there are some questions of where everyone's going to play in the infield. Devers didn't want to give up third base. We'll see how it plays out. I think when it's all said and done, Devers is going to DH more times than not. Bregman, the Gold Glove caliber third baseman, will play third, and then Christian Campbell will play second base. For the Red Sox, who have been bet all the way down to plus 275 to win the division, are actually shorter than Baltimore now. The Yankees, who have had a brutal spring training injury-wise, Alex, are the plus 165 favorites. O's are 3-1 to win the East. Jays and Rays at the bottom of the board. I don't really get Tampa at 7-1. I think their roster's terrible, but they do have that Ray voodoo, and also are going to have to play at the Yankees spring training facility this year. So they're insanely front-loaded with home games. They only have 11 home games in the months of the last 2 weeks of May through the beginning of August because of the weather in southwestern Florida. And then Toronto's at 10-1. That might actually be worth a little bit of a sprinkle. That roster's not that far off that they should be double digits, in my opinion.
No, they really aren't. And we got Max Scherzer there as well, so we'll see how that works out and if he has anything left. But you're right, it has been all Red Sox talk for this division, and I do think that that is correct. Garrett Crochet is added there, and Walker Buehler. And the last I saw, it was going to be Bregman at third.
Yep.
So we'll see how that pans out. But I think that's a decent number. I mean, I'm trying to find at least a 3-1 with them. But the Yankees, it's going to take some time. Garrett Cole out right now, so I think there's too many injuries to bet on them right now.
Should be really interesting. I do like the Red Sox lineup. I think they've made some nice pickups. The staff's not bad. The Blue Jays are going to be interesting. Gausman, Barrios, Bassett, Francis, and Scherzer in that rotation. That's a good rotation, and I think they did a really good job with their bullpen as well. So I think they have a very strong bullpen. And then you got players like Springer and Guerrero and Bichette and Kirk. And, Kirk's had up and down a little bit. But the first three that I named, Springer's still a really good player. Guerrero's an MVP type player. And I think Bichette makes a big leap this year. Him as the second baseman, that was a great pickup. This guy can really play. That's a big-time player. The middle of their diamond is really strong. I think Toronto's a team that I'm going to take a look at to maybe surprise some people here in this division.
10-1 right now.
It is such again, in the American League, there are endless possibilities for what the 6 playoff teams are going to be. I think as long as you're not arguing that the White Sox can make the playoffs, even the A's, who may be far off, the Angels have a pretty significant uphill climb, but this AL is so condensed, and I really don't think any of these teams are really all that good except for Boston and then maybe 2 teams out west that we'll get to because of the Yankees' injuries. You can find some interesting numbers across the board. Toronto is one of them. Like you both said, the lineup is good. Just a matter of can that pitching hold up. If that pitching holds up, who knows? We could be talking about Toronto winning the AL East at 10-1. It wouldn't stun me. I think that there are arguments for pretty much everyone. And look at the AL Central prices. Yeah. All right, so let's eliminate the White Sox. Kenny, you only have the White Sox 1 point less than a one power rate.
That's my offensive.
That's your
ratings.
offensive.
Yeah. So Miami's offense is that bad.
That's pretty amazing.
The White Sox are the worst, and Miami's right there with them.
Here's the deal: the White Sox could improve by 10 games this year and still not reach their win total over. That's how bad of last year obviously was for them. They are still the worst team in baseball. I don't think there's anyone arguing on contrary on that. But looking at look at those AL Central odds.
Yeah.
The team that missed the playoffs last year is the favorite in Minnesota. Remember, they collapsed the last month. They missed it completely. They're 2-1. The Tigers, who were the darling of the postseason a year ago, even though they lost in the DS at plus 280. The Royals monitor Bobby Witt's health, 3-1. And then the Guardians, who I've heard a lot of people who I trust baseball-wise who think the Guardians are going to regress hard this year. Up to plus 330 as the defending AL Central champions and ALCS representative last year, Alex.
And did you bring up Kansas City yet?
Yes, 3-1 on the Royals.
I do like the Royals of all of them, but I do think it is going to be that tight like it has been the last few years. But I think the Royals have the best rotation, and they're young, so that would be my pick to win this division.
I was looking at that Tiger team. The pitching rotation is really good. Skubal is outstanding. I love Flaherty's stuff.
I had
Olsen,
to double check that he was back.
Yeah, Reese Olson's very good. Mize is a guy that I think he was a first rounder that
This is first overall.
First overall.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got great stuff. He needs to put it all together. A guy like Alex Cobb they have as well. That guy can pitch. He doesn't throw hard, but he's got great movement on all of his pitches. So they brought in, I think, a couple of decent relievers too. That their bullpen's going to be good. They made that run last year. The lineup, this is a no names lineup that they're putting on the field. So they may struggle a little bit offensively, but I think the pitching staff is there for this team to win the division. I have the Guardians looking at what they have. I don't like the pitching staff at all. I like Beebe, and I do like Gavin Williams, another highly drafted kid, but you were dropping a Lively, Ortiz, and Allen, and I don't know where Shane Bieber is anymore later in his career in talent, and Trevor McKenzie's been decent. The Cleveland organization has had somebody teaching pitching though. So you got to watch out for that. They have had a good pitching coach in their organization. I don't know where he's at. If it's the same guy, I don't know. I really don't. I've just seen really good stuff out of this Cleveland organization pitching-wise over the years, last 4 or 5 years. It used to be the Brewers. The Brewers had a guy that was developing people left and right. Then it was Cleveland developing people left and right. So every organization changes and coaches do move around, but I do not like this Guardians team. I definitely think they do regress.
Yeah, you're not alone, Kenny. I feel like of all the teams that were playoff teams a year ago in baseball, period, that's the one everyone seems to be attacking for natural regression. I'm with Alex. I like Kansas City. The only concern with the Royals is their home road splits were nuts last year. They were one of the best offenses in baseball last year in Kauffman, which, by the way, traditionally not a good offensive stadium, which made it even weirder. Yeah. And they were a bottom 7 road offense in baseball a year ago. So always a little bit concerning when you have that drastic of splits. And also Seth Lugo, who was arguably one of the best pitchers in the American League last year, I think could have some regression. But I'm with you.
That's true.
I think it's Kansas City or Detroit. I don't buy Minnesota at all, and I think Cleveland's on their way to a 4th place finish in this division.
Who did the White Sox give up Crochet to?
The Red Sox.
And what did they get back in return? Do you know?
I don't remember, but it's not pieces that are going to be doing anything right now.
I don't know why they gave that guy up. Maybe he wasn't good in the locker room or something, but he was a lefty with really good stuff, and he shined for them. Such as a bad team they were. I really like their outfield with Benintendi, Robert, and Tachman. I think that's a pretty good outfield that can do some things offensively. And Michael Taylor's there too to be the 4th guy maybe. But Luis Robert, I think he's a superstar in this game. I think he's going to be a good player. So I don't know about Sosa Montgomery at short and second. Obviously, they had such a bad year last year, but this is baseball again, and confidence is a fragile thing. And if this team got off to a good start, and I don't see anybody in this division that's actually a world beater. So 300-1 to win the division. They're 300-1 to win the division.
Wow, you're right.
To win the division. And who's in front of them? None of those teams are scary. They're not facing the Yankees and the Astros and the really good baseball teams. I don't see anybody in this division that's that good.
Did you check out the Royals?
Look a little closer.
Yeah, look at.
I did kind of look at the Royals. Their pitching staff's okay. I like Lugans and Reagans at the top, and Waka. Waka's. I don't know. He's up and down. Lorenzen, another guy, up and down. Bubik, I like. So, gotta love Witt, one of the best players in baseball. Melendez, I think, and their left fielder's good. Renfro's a really good player. Isbell, I think he's a former UNLV kid. He's done a nice job. Perez behind the plate's one of the best in baseball, and he means so much to the pitching staff that they need him healthy all year. Love the first baseman. This is a good team. Yeah, Kansas City's a good team. You might have talked me into maybe Kansas City being the best team overall talent-wise to start the season.
Going to the AL West, top compact. Texas Rangers, who, of course, won it all 2 years ago, had just an injury-riddled campaign a year ago. The betting favorites right now at plus 175. Astros, who had a weird offseason, but you know what? Maybe the return for Kyle Tucker is already looking pretty good right now. Paredes in that ballpark could work well. The other young stud who was not expected to make the opening day roster is going to be there in Cam Smith. And then the Mariners, who gave Cal Raleigh a nice little contract extension yesterday, but still did nothing in the offseason. Just trade one of your good starters for some sort of bad. You still have 4 other good ones, and they would have been the pick for me, maybe even to win the American League. I just don't like that lineup at all. Plus 240 on the M's. Alex, I like the chalk here. I think Texas was just so riddled with injuries a year ago, and has any superstar just kind of flown under the radar as much as Corey Seager does? Like how great he is in big moments. The best player on a World Series team 2 years ago and was the best player on that 2020 Dodgers team as well.
Yeah.
What a talent. Good rotation. Jacob deGrom looks like he's going to be fully ready to go as well. I like Texas to win the AL West, and I would not be shocked if the Rangers get on that San Francisco Giant Bruce Bochy every other year train at this point.
You're right. Corey Seager does just fly under the radar. He's not quite the face like Aaron Judge or Ohtani. More like Mike Trout, though, except for he actually has some championships. So he is very well-rounded there. I do like that rotation. I think DeGrom coming back is very good. I do think that the Astros are right there with them, though. I think their rotation is very good as well. Valdez, Hunter Brown, Arrighetti, even Blanco had a good year last year. So it'll be interesting to see what this new Houston Astros team looks like, since they did sell a lot of the pieces that we're used to.
Yeah, they're still very talented. I think they made the right moves. I'm going to go with Seattle. I was with them all last year. The rotation, I think, is ridiculous. I thought they were one of the best rotations in baseball because they throw strikes and they get people out. They strike people out, too. They don't walk anybody. Gilbert, Castillo, Miller, Kirby, Wu, even Emerson Hancock. I think it could be Hancock's year. He has the most talent out of any of those 6 starters in the rotation. So, I always have a problem pronouncing his name. The former Rays guy, Rosarina.
Oh, Rosarina.
Rosarina.
Yeah, Randy Rosarina. Yep.
I think with him and Rodriguez in that lineup and Crawford, those are 3 really good bats. Raleigh, the catcher, I think is a really good clutch hitter. I think Robles can be a really good offensive player. Polanco, I think, is good. So this team didn't hit it all last year, and I'm looking at my numbers, and I've got Seattle at the bottom of the pack offensively, and a lot of that is taken from what they did last year. I think these guys, if you look back the year before that, and I take those numbers, they tell us they're DH. In Garver, against left-handed pitching, he's going to crush lefties. So right now is Seattle, I think, is the team, I think, maybe to beat in this division.
I think there's a legitimate argument for any of those top 3. If you argued Houston, Seattle, Texas, good with me. The A's just, even though they spent a lot this offseason, especially for what they've been spending over the last decade plus, still not quite there, and the Angels are just stuck in purgatory at this point. Mike Trout with 1 playoff appearance and 0 playoff wins, despite basically being a modern-day Mickey Mantle when he's on the field. I like your Rangers too, because
Corey Seager is one of the best players in baseball. You can put him right up there if you're drafting a team and starting a team. He would be one guy that you'd go after. And then Langford, the left fielder, is a great hitter. Garcia, really good. Here's where Berger ended up here. Power hitting first baseman. Simeon at second. Jung at third. This team has a ton of power. They're going to hit a lot of home runs this year.
It's a good hitter ballpark as well. Not quite like the old place that was outside, but still is a good hitter park.
Did you pull up the Athletics yet? I think they could be sneaky, actually. I know a lot of this team is young because we've seen mostly all of them at the Athletics, but they're all really good players. With Zach Geloff, and then you got Soderstrom at first. Langoliers is a power hitter, catching there. So, and then they added some pieces to the pitching. This
is the Lawrence Butler show this year. To be totally frank, him and Rooker are both all-star caliber players, and if any of the names you just mentioned take a leap forward, their rotation is okay. Severino's now the ace there. Of course, they gave him at the time the biggest contract in A's history. Mason Miller, we know, is when he's healthy, is arguably the best closer in baseball. Yeah. They signed Jose Leclerc as well, who has had closing success as well in other spots. Yeah, I think if there is a dark horse in this American League that could surprise, it's them or it's Toronto. I think those are the two. Now, granted, who the hell knows what it's going to look like playing in a minor league stadium all year? I wonder if that takes a toll on guys who are used to major league amenities. But then they've been playing in what is basically a falling apart stadium the last decade plus. So it can work both ways.
It can work both ways. It could be a breath of fresh air for them that they get out of Oakland. And, hey, there's no pressure on us because this isn't our home anyway. Let's just go have fun. And it is a young team that's played together before. So, yeah, there is a lot of talent there. I worry about the experience. And I do like Sears and Springs in the rotation there. I'm not sure what you get out of Severino. So, yeah, and you got the closer. You mentioned Miller, one of the best in baseball. That's very important. So, yeah, there's some talent there. It's not a bad team. Proven commodity, Seattle's 1 through 6 is the best could be the best in the American League. That's how good I think they are.
All right, before we get take the shortest of breaks to get trivia and the whiteboards all squared away, any predictions? Anything fun here for this upcoming season? Right now, I think my favorite bet on the board is, again, one I took a little bit earlier. I took Boston at a bigger number to win the AL East. I would not bet it at the current number, but I do like the Red Sox to win that division. Boston, Yankees, Baltimore, Kansas City, Houston, and Texas are my 6 AL playoff teams. Braves, Mets, Cubs, Dodgers, Diamondbacks, Padres are my 6 in the NL going into the year.
I think you named everybody good.
Yeah, I hope so. The only one I left out again, I know you're high on the Phillies, Kenny. I think the Phillies are a big regression candidate this year more so than anything. But
I'm not worried about the age on 2 players.
Which guys?
Bryce Harper, and Trey Turner. Turner's still the fastest guy in baseball at 31 years old. Don't worry about him. And Harper doesn't drink. So he's going to play till he's 38. Worry about his age at 37.
Okay.
But so those 2 guys, you don't have to worry about them. Maybe is it Castellano?
Castellanos.
Castellano, he's 33.
And Schwarber, too, who's aging.
Yeah, Schwarber's 31, I think, too. But they still have a really good offense and a really good pitching staff. So the Diamondbacks, man, if they weren't in the Dodgers division, the Diamondbacks rotation looks really good, too. So, and again, for me, Seattle, 25-1, maybe to win a World Series.
All right, let's take it the shortest of breaks. We'll get the whiteboards ready, and we'll see if the battle of Nick and JR, who was won by today, in the trivia on the bottom of your screen when we get back. Sports by the Book here at the South Point Studio.
Get ready to laugh with Punchlines with Frank Nicotero. Join Frank and his team of featured guests for your daily dose of comedy.
Reno, the Pittsburgh of the West.
Poison.
Yeah.
Poison.
Sports.
F for Falcons, Alex. We were talking Derek Carr for MVP after 2 games. Okay, me. I was.
And the funniest social media posts.
People want to show off their food. Boom. Wiener on a guy's shoulder. It's the Dark Colts. We bleed blue.
It's your one-stop spot for great laughs and a good time. Find us on YouTube at Punchlines FN. And join the chat live weekdays at noon Pacific for the ultimate blend of jokes, sports, and viral fun.
Back, everybody. This is for Wednesday, March 26th. It is whiteboard time. 3-0 Tuesday for me, so I'm hoping to keep it going here with 1 unit size bets and then a pizza money bet for you. Illinois State and Cleveland State under 141.5. I believe that has dropped a little bit, so I'm still comfortable going under 139.5. Bruins and Ducks under 6, and then pizza money bet. Blackhawks at home 2-1 against the New Jersey Devils.
You're always trying to outdo me. 3-0 yesterday. I was 2-0. I couldn't get there. I should have put a third play in to get there. Today, two totals. You might have mentioned the same ones. Loyola Chicago under 143.5, and then the Cleveland State game. It has gone down, but I still have a pretty decent size difference. Going to be a slow pace championship game under 139.5. And then don't forget from yesterday, give out 3 women's games. Notre Dame minus 5.5, NC State plus 3. I think you can get 3.5 now, and then Oklahoma plus the 14.5.
There we go. That's what we got on the whiteboards here for today. Of course, Kenny had a whole bunch of women's plays yesterday, like you just said. Those are available if you watch yesterday's show as well. All right, before we get out of here, the JR Invitational continued here today. Who's the only pitcher to lead both the NL and AL in shutouts in the same season? And you know what? I would have gotten this one too as well, because CC Sabathia in 2008 very easily could have won the NL Cy Young despite only being with Milwaukee for 2.5 months. Led the Brewers to the postseason that year. Sabathia recorded 2 shutouts with the, at the time, Cleveland Indians. And then 3 with the Brewers, and was arguably the best player in baseball those last 2 months. Before, of course, he ran out of steam in the postseason, and the Phillies went on to win that World Championship in 2008. So congrats to JR. More trivia, of course, coming through the week. All right, tomorrow you and I are back, Alex. We'll have a Thursday. We'll get all the Sweet 16 games for Thursday night. I think we'll see Dwayne Colucci as well tomorrow on the show. Looking forward to that. Kenny?
Yes.
We'll see you again. See you again on Sunday.
Good luck this week.
Good luck to you as well. Hope for a whole bunch of winners over the next few days. For Kenny and Alex, for Jerry, Ryan, Ann, Drew Dog, and Sean, I'm Jeff Parles. We'll see you again next time. Sports by the Book right here at the South Point Studio.